Episode 106. Looks like Tancred has had one too many eggnogs during the signs of the Seventh Dawn Christmas party. Starlight Celebration Party, that's the name of the holiday. Of course, there is no celebration going on here. In the Rising Stones, time doesn't pass unless you make it pass. They don't even acknowledge what's going on outside. Pretending we just had a Christmas party or whatever, I think Komori, before she gets back on the job, decides she's going to help Tancred wake up a little bit. We actually had some experience with this a few episodes ago, helping Godber wake up from his near comatose state. In the hot springs, we poured some cold water on him, so I think Komori is going to get some snow to dump on Tancred's face. This episode is going to be about the Crystal Tower raid, maybe even the finale for it. But this is my excuse to go over here, after having learned where that snowball throwing emote that I saw in last episode, where to get it. It turns out it's not actually a store item or even something that you have to go very far into the game to get. It's just unlocked through a side quest. I don't know if they added this in at a later point in time or if it's always been here since the beginning of the game. But this NPC that I've passed by, like many other NPCs with just an orange or yellow marker above their head, completely unimportant, hidden behind his other side quest, which doesn't give you really anything of note. I guess an ice cluster. Don't know if that's worth anything. I mean, it's for crafting, but this one, far more important. I can't see as how I ought to care, but I saw a fellow out throwing snowballs at a snowman. Why anyone would engage in such japery in the cold, I can't rightly say. Went nut gathering and lost more than he found, is my guess. You better make sure that don't happen to you, lass. Not that I know precisely what happened, mind you. What's that? Me? Ask? I've got my chocobos to see to. If Duviko wants to upend his head soup on the snow, I can't see what business of mine would be. Yep, that's his name. Duviko. I don't know. He sells things, goes places. Don't seem like no kind of life to me, begging pardon. You want to see him? I reckon he's somewhere about. The fact that this is hidden behind this guy's other quest indicates to me maybe they added this in later or something. It'd be strange if he just had 2 quests. This guy also has 2 quests, but we're only going to be doing this snowball one. Walking softly, eh, adventurer? Those around here think I'm winter drunk, I'll wager. Never seen a snow toss before, the lazy byblos. Sit on your arse in front of a poor fire too long, and soon you've got the swime and white knuckles. You'll sleep the better for tossing snowballs, without needing Lady Mead or Mistress Ale to sing the lullaby. What do you say, eh? Why not give it a try? It's as simple as you'd imagine. Just reach on down and grab some of the powdery white and throw. And just like that, you learn the emote, throw. I never even unlocked this on my main character. I guess I've never really seen people use it, or it didn't register in my memory. I'll put it over here. So like I said, he does have some other normal quest, which I think was here since the beginning. But it'd be a shame if we got this emote from him and didn't finish up his actual snowball quest line, which is just this one other quest. You learned the motion? How about we have ourselves some fun with it, huh? Reach on down into the powder and throw a goodly sized lump at me, hard as you can. Though make sure you take aim first, eh? Much as I'd get a good laugh out of it, I doubt Drividot here would fancy a face full of snow. Get out of the way. No, wait, that's fine. Stand right there. We're gonna throw a curveball. Oh, that was kind of a curveball. Actually, a very slight curveball. There's some kind of weird tracking on these snowballs. I see. Last episode I noticed there was tracking on them. It was because I was moving and the snowballs were tracking me. Not because of the way the player was facing when they threw it. Because of course you turn to face whoever you're emoting at. Maybe if I... Nope, not while running. What about a short stack while you're running? Yeah, there we go. There's that curve. Kind of. We need an actual moving target that's not following us for this to actually really show the tracking. But we kept you waiting. Oof. You've got an arm to write songs about. Bet that felt good, eh? Cold hands, warm heart. That's the secret to long living. Really, there ain't much more to it. Just throw where there's snow underfoot. Of course, if you try to do the same on other kinds of ground, you'll end up with a fistful of nothing. Where's the gain in that? Anyhow, what I like to do is toss snowballs at snowmen. That way you can hurl them as hard as you fancy. Snowmen don't mind. They're made of the same stuff, eh? Go on, give it a try. Try throwing it at the snowman right outside. And like he said, throwing the snowball doesn't actually work if you're not on snow. Weird attention to detail. I'm not sure if there are other emotes in the game like this, that only work on certain types of terrain. I don't think the snowman has always been here. Just for the quest. Lalafell is throwing. Should I eat? Maybe I eat. No, I no eat dummy dummy. Dummy dummy throw like zero. Only become yummy yummy if throw like hero. Are you gonna take that from a snowman, Komoy? Throw it like you mean it. Aim is yummy yummy. Still much to fear though, hero not here. Throw to me again. Go deeper into the rabbit hole, Komoy. Wee. Finally, a throw of a hero. All yummy, no dummy. There's snow on my boots. I happy now. Snow tossed. Hero made. I tired. Need to sleep. Don't worry what they say. They call you crazy. Revolutionaries always get called crazy. I have no idea what this quest is. Obviously it's for the emote, but... is that a reference? It could just be weird. There you are. You were at it a while. Nothing like a little hoarfrost on the nose here, eh? Snowman talked, you said? Don't see how. I rolled the thing myself. And it wasn't like I engaged a swiping white mage. Now you go and lie down a spell, and don't go say nothing to them inside. They'll figure you a winter drunk for sure. They might even put you in for a leeching. Come by for another snow toss when you're feeling less fanciful. This damned winter can't last forever. But if it does, maybe I'll start a snow toss tourney. See if I can make a guild or two. Oh, Fillmore came here to gather some snow to dump on Tancred, but I think she's decided she's had enough snow after that little ordeal. Probably a good idea. Don't want to contaminate Thancred with the snow, if that's what's making Komori go crazy. This is the wrong place. I can just teleport back. Oh, fine. I believe the World of Darkness shouldn't take the entire episode even. It'll just be the raid and, I guess, the startup. But there may be quite a lot going on. We'll see. A climactic finale to the World of Darkness, or Crystal Tower raids. And I started going crazy throwing snowballs at snowmen. Thancred, you stay down. It's crazy out there. Oh. I get changed for going back to work. Over here, where no one can see us. Right? Yeah. Perfect blockage of line of sight. Of course, the change is instant. So it doesn't matter. No, wait. What am I doing? I'm not talking to Minfilia. The Crystal Tower raids are over by the Crystal Tower. We'll leave the festive chocobo parting on. At least for now. Here we are. And where did we last leave you, Graha? Being born with one red eye, I did not have the most pleasant of childhoods. You know what they say, children can be cruel. The end result being that I grew up determined to uncover the truth of the trait. Much and more yet remains beyond my knowing, but one thing is certain. The nearer I draw to the heart of the Crystal Tower, the more I am convinced that an important memory eludes me. Ah, Komori, it is good you are come. I have news you must be made aware of. Alas, none of it bodes well for us. Not for Une, Doga, and Nero imprisoned in the Dark Realm. Think back upon our last foray into Circus Tower, if you will. The calamity stirred the place from its long slumber, and awoke Emperor Zandi. But you, Komori, you ensured he was laid to rest permanently. Yet the Emperor had sealed a binding covenant with the terrible void sent known as the Cloud of Darkness. Even as Doga and Une labored to annul this contract, the entity reached through a rift and dragged the pair of them, and Nero, out of our realm. Since that day, Noah has devoted itself to rescuing Une, Doga, and Nero from beyond the rift. Our research, however, has exposed a far more dire problem. The Crystal Tower still acts upon Emperor Zandi's orders, and collects energy to open another void gate, even as we speak. Indeed, the place nigh hums with energy. We have done all we can to stop the Imperial Edict, but to no avail. Just as the gate would open only for Une and Doga, so too will the tower heed only those with the royal blood of Alec. Tis a most galling design. Granted, this was not always so vexatious, according to the elegant tombstone Nero presented us. During the golden age of Alec, the royalty had some means of bestowing their blood upon others. If they hadn't had such a technology, Amon and his underlings could never have controlled the Crystal Tower. But we do not have either this art or any with royal blood. Every moment we wait, a vast rift through which the cloud of darkness can enter our realm threatens to open. Such a disaster cannot be allowed to come to pass. We must seal the Crystal Tower and annul Zandi's covenant with the Dark Realm. If only breaking the latter would suffice. Then what of the energy building in the Crystal Tower? Without suppression, that power could discharge and cause a calamity like to the one that destroyed Alec. In truth, we have more than just 3 lost compatriots to worry about. If we do not act, our very world will fall before the might of this threat. We know but one way out of this predicament. Rescue those who can control the tower from beyond the Dark Realm, and seal the rift shut after them. And mercifully, not all our news is quite so bleak. 'Tis true we cannot stop the Void Gate from manifesting within the tower, but this can be to our benefit. We can use Circus's power for our own purposes, and create a portal to carry us into the Dark Realm. We have heard this is possible from a man of the Thaumaturge's Guild, well versed in otherworldly matters, and with Master Garland working to create said portal. The final preparations are well underway. And here comes the man himself. I'm surprised to mention the Thaumaturge's Guild, but I guess they are the experts on the Void. You could have asked Komoy. Well, not like she's very knowledgeable about anything, even if it's supposed to be her job as a thaumaturge. Komoy, just the woman we need. Yes, our fellowship is indeed complete, and all parties privy to our strategy. And you, Master Garland, how fare your endeavors? Quite well. The device is nearly ready, though attaching the damnable thing to Circus Tower took every ounce of ingenuity the ironworks has got. But it should produce the energy we need. With just a little more fine-tuning, we can open a rift. I'm here to request your presence at the tower. I'll leave Biggs and Wedge at the 8 Sentinels as guides. And do hurry, Komoy. I'm sure you wouldn't miss another chance to save the world, would you? Well, Sid certainly seems to have a firm hand on the helm. Shall we make our way to the Crystal Tower? Time is of the essence, my friend. We must go to the 8 Sentinels. I've added your observations and findings to the Crystal Tower survey log. The information contained therein will be available to you at all times. Should you have any questions, you need only ask. Oh my god, I forgot about this. Has this always been here? Maybe because he always had quests for us, we never saw all of these options. Well, we'll skip what do you do here and what kind of place this is. Let's just read all the NOAA reports. I'm here for the lore, sometimes. Allow me to find the relevant page. The elegant empire has left behind many a mysterious legacy, but perhaps none so impressive as the glittering spire of the Crystal Tower. With equal parts excitement and trepidation, the survey party dubbed the Fellowship of Noah set forth to pry loose the daunting structure's well-guarded secrets. Once past the massive crystal gate, The members of the team beheld 4 pairs of grim stone statues, flanking a broad forecourt, a lethal complement of elementally powered defenses known as the 8 Sentinels. Each pair of silent sentries promised a different method of obliteration, to prove to any foolish enough to attempt trespass. Should intruders somehow survive passing through the first barrier of incinerating flames, they would then face death by rending winds, crushing waves, or grinding rocks. These unforgiving guardians were, without a doubt, the product of the unique blend of magic and technology pioneered by the great inventors of Alec. To think that these constructs of arcane masonry yet functioned after millennia of dormancy is simply staggering, a testament to the genius of their creations. But we would not be deterred from our objectives. Using 4 reflective fangs, shaped from flawless crystals, we triumphed in turning the power of the elemental defenses against themselves. With the way thus cleared, the expedition stood poised to enter the inner reaches of the tower grounds. Nothing really new about the 8 Sentinels, we already heard a lot of that. But I think the stuff about the actual raid might be more interesting. Maybe not so much Une and Doga, but Circus Tower and maybe Emperor Sandy. I say that because you kind of fly through a bunch of the scenery in the raid, so maybe you don't really absorb all of the lore of the place that you're going to. One moment while I locate the passages in question. A stalwart band of adventurers, led by the indomitable Komori Moriko, was tasked with conquering the perils of the ancient Labyrinths of the Ancients. My head wanted to say ancient labyrinths. The base of the Crystal Tower is nestled within this deadly maze, the entire structure designed to confound entrance to the spire proper. As we had feared, the halls of the labyrinth were further protected by fantastical foes. Our adventurers faced nightmarish opponents, the King Behemoth, and the Void-Sent Donatos among them. Through our research, we have learned that the ancients were most skilled at the binding of void-born entities, occult servants that were compelled to serve alongside augmented beasts and chimerical monstrosities. After battling such fiends, none could argue that the approach to the tower was a simple one. And though the labyrinth's having trouble with that word, labyrinth's hazards have been overcome, one cannot but imagine what devilish enemies await within those unbreached crystalline walls. Yeah, I think these reports were available after you did the labyrinth, and it was just there for a recap or like a epilogue or something. The most interesting here will probably be Phlegathon, because that guy was just kind of there. We don't really know anything about him, unless I wasn't paying attention. You wish to learn more of Phlegathon? Certainly. His story is quite compelling. Surely. Phlegathon was the scimitar-wielding colossus, who served as the final bastion of the Labyrinth of the Ancients, and until recently, was oft mistaken for a similar guardian known as Acheron. This is of course referencing that when the raid first came out, I guess due to a translation error or something, in English they called him Acheron, even though he was supposed to be Phlegathon or something. Not necessarily just a translation issue, but like localization, because Phlegathon and Acheron are both references to some older Final Fantasy. And I think in that older Final Fantasy, their names were maybe like swapped around or moved around or wrong or something back in the day. Was sort of like an M. Bison, Vega, Sagat situation. I don't know. Is Sagat part of that quadruple name swap? I don't know. In Phlegathon's day, he was but a mortal man, who sought to bring revolution to the Allegan Empire. The empire lasted more than 1,000 years, but that is not to say its reign was entirely peaceful. During the later days of its supremacy, that imperial rule found itself under constant challenge. Famous, even among these endless conflicts, was a rebellion led by the mighty General Phlegethon. Imperial annals paint him as a murderous villain, but the writings of the common folk reveal Phlegethon's status as a hero of the people. Though adored as he was, the revolutionary leader was eventually captured by agents of the Empire. Scholarly records give a chilling account of how his body was forcibly altered through sorcery and science, his mind broken and conditioned to obey. An example was made of Phlegethon, a hideous warning of the fate that awaited those who refused to kneel. When Komori gazed upon the general's unnatural form so many centuries later, she was afforded a glimpse into the darkness of which the Empire was capable. I guess he was a guy turned into a slave. Kind of strange, I guess. When you fight him, you don't really feel like he's a person, you know? He just feels like a boss, or even just a mindless monster. But I guess he was a person all along. Xandi, too. I guess maybe this is just my perspective or projecting or something. Even back when I fought him on my main character, he felt less like a person and more like a monster. I guess he is a clone, but he seemed lucid and sentient enough. And with the wider scope that I have of the whole story of Final Fantasy XIV, I guess I can appreciate more that he was a person too. Maybe it's just how little you interact with these two characters, mainly just interacting with them as bosses. Oh, whatever. Une and Doga. Ah yes, our noble comrades Une and Doga. Let us review the events surrounding their appearance. Having secured a pass through the labyrinth of the ancients, the Fellowship of Noah next sought to explore Suka's tower. However, their progress was frustrated by the most mundane of security measures, a gate that refused to open. Impervious to all damage, the imposing gate was sealed by a mechanism whose workings confounded even the Fellowship's brightest minds. As they struggled in vain to solve the puzzle, two mysterious strangers, a man and a woman, richly garbed in elegant fashion, arrived to offer their aid. Doga and Une were their names, and they later revealed themselves to be clones, identical copies of people, created thousands of years ago as part of an experiment to resurrect Xandi, the founding father of the Allegan Empire. The individuals with whom they derived their existence were of Xandi's lineage, likewise named Doga and Une. The pair were said to share myriad distinct traits with their revered forebear. Among these traits were eyes of sanguine, known as the Royal Eye. In addition to being royalty, they were skilled mages in their own right. Doga could wield powerful spells both extant and lost, while Une possessed the rare ability to manipulate dreams. Never really see those come into play. When Emperor Xandi returned from the grave, they initially supported his second ascension. However, it soon came to light that the Emperor was consorting with darkness. Fearing what might befall the world, they sought to put an end to his madness. In the event that they should fail, they left the key by which future generations may carry on their mission. That key is none other than the two clones who came to Noah, in whom they imbued their will. By virtue of the royal blood that courses through their veins, they were able to open the gate that had barred the Fellowship's entry into Suka's tower. I think these are mainly here for recap, like maybe the developers felt like in between all of the patches, since there would maybe be months of waiting. People needed this kind of recap in case, or they offered this kind of recap in case people felt like they forgot. But I think later on, in more recent expansions, there isn't really any need for this, they just kind of assume the player knows. But there is some extra bit of lore here that they don't talk about, so I'll be reading this anyway. I was planning to get to the actual raid today, but it might not actually happen. Maybe I spend the entire episode with this specific camera angle just reading text. And that would track with how low quality my episodes have been recently. Or the entire time. You wish to learn more about Suka's Tower? Very well. Let us review such data as we have on hand. The Crystal Tower is comprised of a multitude of spires. Yeah, I don't see that. I guess, maybe? Like, up there in the upper right, you could call that 2 or 3 spires? But it feels just like one tower. Rising high above them all is Suka's Tower, the heart of the majestic structure. It must be noted that the name Crystal Tower originated as a sobriquet. I don't know that word, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. Ordinary Alligans coined the term, which over time came to refer to the collective structure. Although the tower is referenced in various ancient scriptures up until the end of the 6th Astral Era, the scholarly community largely doubted its existence. Aside from Professor Eric, it had scant few proponents. Who's Eric? Not here. Have we met Eric? I don't think so. How is it possible that such a colossal structure could be kept hidden from mankind, and for so long? The answer was to be found amidst the ruins of the 4th Umbral Calamity, which took the form of a great earthquake. During the final years of the Allagan Empire, the lesser moon of Dalamud harvested the sun's energy, which it then transferred to Suka's Tower below. However, that energy proved too much for the tower to contain. It escaped into the land, causing the earth to collapse into itself. In mere moments, the Allagan Empire was laid to waste. Yet even as the Crystal Tower was sinking, Emperor Zandi's most trusted aide, the technologist Amon, invoked powerful magics and halted the flow of time within the structure. The tower and its denizens fell into a deep slumber. 3 eras later, when Dalamud began its descent, the Crystal Tower stirred to wakefulness. Shortly thereafter, the cataclysmic arrival of the 7th Umbral Era saw the tower return to the surface. The Fellowship of Noah ventured into the Crystal Tower, its first visitors in millennia. Awaiting them at the apex was Emperor Zandi, the legendary founder of the Allagan Empire, who had awakened alongside his minions. And finally, Emperor Zandi. I was actually hoping this Suka's Tower stuff would tell us more about the interior. Like, I don't know, the dragons we fought inside, or maybe Scylla, the first boss that took like 3 or 5-headed wolf lady. What's her story? Let us turn to the pages which speak of Emperor Zandi. No account of Allagan history may be considered complete without mention of its founding father and first Emperor Zandi. Ancient records that have survived paint the man as a great ruler. By his hand, the Allagan Empire was born, and for more than 1,000 years, it flourished. However, the Empire's star eventually began to wane. The self-same prosperity that made the Allagans great gave rise to decadence. The citizens grew content in their complacency, and technological advance ground to a halt. In a matter of generations, the civilization became a pale shadow of its former self. Lamenting the pitiful state of affairs, the technologist Amon sought to restore Alec to greatness via an unprecedented method, the resurrection of Emperor Xandi. Amon exhumed Xandi's body from his tomb, situated in what is now known as Mordona, and proceeded to conduct numerous experiments. With equal parts perseverance and ingenuity, he succeeded in bringing the Emperor back to life. So began Emperor Xandi's second reign, 1,000 years removed from his first. Through masterful leadership, he swiftly brought his ailing empire back to the path of greatness. Even the southern land of Mericidia, which had long defied Alec, was finally brought to heel. Xandi was a great emperor. It cannot be denied, and ancient records rightly speak of him in reverent tones. However, those self-same records are silent on the subject of the man's inner workings. It has recently been revealed that, ever since returning from the grave, Emperor Xandi was constantly tormented by the memories of his death. Driven by reasoning that no mind but his own may comprehend, he sought to return all to nothingness. Whatever may have compelled it, Xandi made his choice, and its consequences have been passed down to the annals of history. A lust for power, which grew into a desire for nihility. Such was the dark seed that brought about the Force Umbral calamity. By Xandi's hand, the Allian Empire was built, and by his own hand, it was destroyed. Some insight into Xandi's mind. I kind of value that. Since you don't really interact with him, maybe hear a couple of lines from him, and you get that flashback about him through the echo. You don't really understand why he's craving nihility, or at least I didn't really understand. Maybe it's still not fully fleshed out, but you get at least a little peek there. This episode has basically amounted to just being one of those filler clip show episodes that animes do whenever they're running behind on schedule or something. Just voicing over some stuff that you did in the past and maybe throwing in a little bit, which was the little bit of snowball stuff that we did at the beginning. Basically filler. Well, maybe we'll actually get to the raid, I don't know. Depends on how much cutscene there is here. As the chief filled you in on the plan, Komoy. Opening up that void gate will be a real feat for the Ironworks. But I'm worried about what comes after. I've never heard of anyone going to a rift, let alone coming back. I don't relish the idea of getting stuck out there ourselves. Komoy, I bet you're here to watch us pry open a rift between worlds, eh? We're almost ready. Circus Tower is full of engineers scurrying around and making adjustments. We're dealing with a lot of firepower, and if a single coupling's off, well, boom. But it should be fine, really. Anyway, you'd best wait at the top. The chief's there overseeing the whole operation. Kind of recording this at a weird time of night. If I don't get to the raid, maybe I'll just turn in. Actually, the weird time of night might make it hard to actually queue up for this. We'll see. My friends, you've arrived. I'm just waiting for my engineers to give the signal. Then we'll see if we can't open a gateway to another world. Is there something amiss, Graha? Emperor Zandi's throne. Now the mighty have fallen, eh? Once it stood as a symbol of Aleg's art and power. Now it's nothing more than an empty chair. Just imagine if Allegan civilization had lived on, and a just emperor still sat on that throne. How different would our history be? How much further would we have advanced? Unfortunately, there was no stopping Zandi and his ambition. There were those who tried. Zandi's war of dominion left no one unscathed. Unable to abide the horrors inflicted upon the people, warriors young and brave took up the sword against Aleg. These men and women became as beacons of hope to those who had suffered, not unlike the warriors of light in our age. But all this merely hastened the destruction. Just as they moved towards Aleg's heart for the kill, Zandi lashed out in anger and frustration, as trapped beasts are wont to do. In his desperation, Zandi desired that a great rift be opened to hasten the cloud of darkness' coming. To this end, he commanded the sun's power, held within Dalamu, to be emptied into Circus Tower at once. The act bore terrible consequences. The tower only withstood the blast by flooding the land below with energy. Circus was swallowed by the very earth upon which it once stood. Thank you, Graha. We just spent an entire 20 or 30 minutes recapping that, but I appreciate your recap even more. The fourth umbral calamity. I'd learned of its cause from Une and Doga. I had no idea that rebellion incited Zandi to rashness, though. Your knowledge of Allegan history is astounding, Graha. Why a man could study for 2 lifetimes and learn only half of what you know. Mayhap. 'Tis strange, though. I cannot seem to remember where I learned such things. Yes? Biggs, you are ready. Ready and raring to open up that void gate, Chief. We reckon when this machine's up and running, she'll be able to float 5 airships the size of the Agrius. So just give us the word, and we'll start channeling energy into the tower. Good. Then let's get started. Our preparations are complete. Everyone, step away from the throne. To a sore throat. Been going on a bit long. Alright, let's see what this machine can do. Now, Biggs? A rift to the world of darkness, as Une called it. Splendid work, Master Gorland. We can't break out the meat just yet. The tough part's still ahead. We've broken into the Dark Realm, but the gate's not all that stable. It won't stay open forever, and only a few can use it. I, for one, will remain here to ensure the Void Gate stays open. As will the Sons of St. Cornac. The rift is our sole path to salvation. If it closes, we are all truly lost. Which leaves, Komoi, my friend, 'tis a heavy burden I must task you with, but there are none more able. Pray lead the adventurers beyond the rift. I do not know what awaits you, save the cloud of darkness and our 3 comrades. But you must go, for the fate of our world now rests upon your shoulders. This is our only gambit, but I have every faith you will succeed. It will be no small feat to return after you have passed beyond the rift. Make certain you are prepared before leaving. Might I have a moment of your time, Gomoy? There is a matter of import we must needs discuss ere you leave. Yeah, actually I thought we'd kind of hop right into it, but when we did the Circus Tower raid, it was just a couple of conversations, and then you go right into it. Although I guess they introduced Une and Doga then, so it was maybe 10 minutes before you got into the raid, maybe even less than that. If you even count out, or cut out, all of the recapping that I did with Rambros. I think this was maybe a little bit over 10 minutes to get into the raid. Of course, nowhere near as long as the huge amount of stuff you had to get into the first raid, but just thinking about it, comparing it with later expansions, I'm just wasting more time. But these videos are here to record my thoughts, so that's the whole reason I'm playing this game on a second character again. I hope it's worth it. I hope I'm looking back on this in the future and enjoying even episodes like this, which mostly waste time, but have just some grains of thoughts sprinkled in. Gomoy, I wish to speak with you, to you, about my eye. As you are no doubt aware, 'tis a trait seen only amongst Allegan royalty. Long have I pondered why such is my inheritance. The sanguine hue, must have some bearing upon my destiny. This much Doga himself admitted, but what? In truth, the more I learn of the Crystal Tower, the less I am myself. Somehow meeting those 2 clones has wrought great change in me. I am consumed with remembering something ancient, but ever so important. And my father's words echo in my mind, the self-same ones his father told him. The truth of our eye rests with Alec. Mayhap what I wish to remember and these words are related, mayhap not. But I know I must learn the truths that history hides from me. I would see this journey, our journey, through to the very end with my own 2 eyes. So I implore you, allow me to join you beyond the rift. Okay. You have my thanks, friend. Now let us venture into the world of darkness to save our comrades and our realm. Okay, we've got it. If I didn't waste time talking to Rambros, if I didn't waste time waxing poetic about my own videos, if I didn't waste time doing some snowball stuff for no reason, if I didn't do any of that, I would have had enough time to go into the raid, just 15 minutes. I could make the episode go on a little bit longer, but Rambros said we should do everything we can to make sure we're ready. I'm going to go out and waste some time and do the actual raid next episode. What a foolish way to spend an episode, eh? Really padding out the time here. This might be my worst episode yet, though I'm sure I've said that in other series. This series too. No, wait. The Mahjong episode, which came out on Christmas, was my worst episode. Not only because of the content, but because of the timing. And on that episode I went long, at least in this one, even if I'm avoiding doing a raid. I'll at least finish on time. My plan to waste time here is to do the other stuff that I plan to do here. Waste time finishing up the side quests here. My excuse is that, now that Komori is finally wrapping up on the Crystal Tower stuff, she's making good on the promise to make sure that nobody, here, is going to continue their research into the dangerous technology. Other than herself, of course. Hey you. You can't have a side quest. I have here a message from an expedition to the south. They are troubled by Gigas, and fear an attack must soon come. Head south forthwith, if you would help us. Sure thing. What are people doing all the way over there, near the Crystal Tower? They're not supposed to be there. I'd say the limits of scholarly research end over here. Get out of here, you. Oops, that's not it. Trying to summon my chocobo. Oh, this rotation's going all wrong. Just kill him with scathe, please. It'll be faster at this point. An adventurer, you've come from the main camp. We feared the message would not reach you in time. The harassment by the Gigas grows daily and... oh, another one, honestly. We just dealt with one. Well, he was right about one thing. The harassment does grow more and more. Don't tell me another one's going to come. Oh wait, hang on. As long as we're wasting time, let's level up our chocobo. Cool. Was that enough for a level up? Nope, still rank 8. We get something special at rank 10. Phew, that was a close call. Thank Azema you were about. Well, I'd better return to my work. History never waits. No. You're not supposed to work anymore. You're fired. I'm sure Rambrose will break the news to him soon enough. All research is done. Your friend is fired. Your reputation precedes you, Komori. So Gigas, I hear. The rest should keep their distance for now. The Gigas were a part of a tribe from Abelotia's spine, uprooted by the calamity. We seek knowledge under the ground. They seek a new home upon that ground. A fray cannot be avoided. Wait, so they're like sentient beings? And we're killing them for trying to find a home? Seems pretty emblematic of some weird feelings you get from a Realm Reborn setting. I just thought they were monsters or something. Actually, this kind of explains certain parallels in Dawn Trail. I didn't actually think there were this kind of parallel, but this must be it, huh? Or something similar. Giants. Maybe? Maybe not. It would seem our trouble with the Gigas outlives the troublemakers themselves. The creature stole some research documents of all things. We may have underestimated them. Why would they steal such a thing? What hidden aspects do they have? We must know more of their ways. Since observation is out of the question, we must collect artifacts. Daliak's razor dictates that we go straight to the source, Gigas. Your task is to slay 4 of them, and collect anything of interest upon their persons. You want to learn more about them by killing them. Upon learning that they were stealing your scholarly research documents, you want to kill them for their interest in technology and science. A little bit weird, but I guess that fits Komori's MO at the current time. She does want to stop anybody from researching into the tower, and if these Gigases are showing any interest, they gotta go. Pretty brutal, huh? I hope that was very informative for you, Wandering Breeze. You return, and I see you have not been idle. Did you find anything of note? What's this? Pieces of crystal? I don't understand why you would... Oh. They are all carved to some degree. Interesting. They have a certain statuesque quality to them. This one in particular is recognizable. It is crude, but this likeness is of the Crystal Tower. I cannot see a Gigas taking the time to shape such a thing solely for amusement. I'd almost forgotten. But there was a report 2 moons ago from another party molested by Gigas. In the technical sense. They too encountered such a crystal, and from their studies of it, they made out 2 words. Holy place. The Gigas may venerate the Crystal Tower. This may explain their migration following the calamity as well. Komori, will you observe the Gigas from a place well hid, after placing this likeness in plain sight? We naturalists lack the necessary training to risk such an observation, but I have every confidence you will remain undetected. You're saying that because she's short. That's fine. Komori is shorter than grass, of course she'll stay undetected. What is that? Big is beautiful, or rather baleful. Why'd they get so fancy with that pop-up text? Kronos, huh? Special guy. If I thought about it, I could have made him the thumbnail if I just removed the HUD. Oh well. I'm sure it'll be something else. You know what? Maybe it'll just be the snowman. Pretty lean on offerings for thumbnails this time around. My own fault, of course. You observed them. What I would not give to have been there. What manner of things did you see? After smoothing out the crumpled piece of parchment, you were able to discern a list of findings called upon it. This is from the document reported lost to the Gigas. We had thought it had been carried off pell-mell. But you say one who looked the chief among them had it. He tore a sketch of the Crystal Tower from the records, and kept it as a precious thing. We must conclude that the tower is indeed holy to them. Gigas have been known to lead other giant kind, for they have the cleverness for it. If they can lead, they can create an army. If they can worship, they can start a crusade. Or so history tells us. These are matters we must be mindful of. Thank you, Komori, for risking much for this knowledge. You gotta leave, buddy. The work goes well, or well enough considering the challenges we face. The scourge of giants and forces inimical to scholarship robbed me of my sleep. Well, I guess if this guy is going to help prevent the giants from getting closer to the crystal tower, he can stay. Graha's not in his usual spot, so we'll take it. And pose. What a waste of an episode. Next time will be something actually exciting, though. It's a good time to take a break.